Greetings, friends. In the year 1998, an American man buys an island for approximately $8 billion. Look at this 75-acre island on the map. It was part of the United States Virgin Islands in the Caribbean. Its name was Little St. James. From the outside, this private island was nothing less than paradise. Extremely beautiful beaches, a lot of greenery. In the middle was a luxury mansion-like bungalow. All around were luxurious guest villas. There were 2 large swimming pools, a gym, and even a helipad. But hidden inside this very paradise was a very dark truth. A truth so dark that people living on the nearby islands used to call this island Pedophile Island. Here, minor girls aged 12 to 17 were trafficked and subjected to sexual abuse. These girls couldn't even escape from here because the sea surrounded them on all sides. Once, a 15-year-old girl tried to swim to escape, but she was caught and her passport was taken away. The most surprising thing is who all used to come to this island. Wealthy people from all over the world, billionaires, millionaires, and famous celebrities. Several big names are included among them. Britain's Prince Andrew, scientist Stephen Hawking, comedian Chris Tucker. Countless politicians and billionaires had visited this island. Parties were organized here for them. But the question is, who was the owner of this island? The answer is one name: Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein once used to teach math to children in Brooklyn. He was a school teacher. But fate played such a trick that later in his career, he suddenly became a financial advisor to billionaires. Accumulating a fortune of nearly $600 million, he becomes a multi-millionaire. His friends included everyone from Bill Clinton and Donald Trump to Israel's former Prime Minister Ehud Barak. In today's video, friends, let's know the truth behind America's biggest scandal, the full story of the Epstein files. You must have noticed today, friends, how artificial intelligence has become the single most important technological shift of our lifetime. All these big billionaires agree with this. The most profound technology humanity is working on. The future is perhaps the most foundational technology. It is a golden age. AI today is transforming every industry in the world. Those who learn to use it correctly today will be more productive, more valuable, and will have more opportunities available to them in the future. What was going on, what was happening on Epstein Island, remained hidden for many years. But in 2005, a small police complaint becomes the trigger for this case. It was March 2005. In Florida, in the Palm Beach area, a 14-year-old girl and her parents file a complaint at the local police station. The girl says that a classmate from her school, Royal Palm Beach High School, took her to a rich man's house. She was told that she just had to give a massage and would get $200 to $300 for it. But something else happened there. Epstein meets that girl wearing only a towel. He asks the girl to take off her clothes and then molests her. When the police asked the first victim if there was any other girl she knew who had gone to Epstein's place, she gave 2 names. When they spoke to those 2 girls, 2 more names came up. And when they spoke to those 2 more names emerged. The police were shocked to see that this chain just wouldn't stop. By the time the police tracked 1 victim, 2 more would appear. Within a few months, the Palm Beach police chief had identified 35 victims, and dozens more were being tracked. The most heartbreaking thing about this was that every girl's story was exactly the same. Everyone was called under the pretext of a massage. She led me up the stairs, and we went right to Jeffrey's room. He was naked on the massage table. Most of the victims were girls aged 13 to 16 and came from poor families. Many didn't have parents. They were orphans, so there was no one to listen to them either. I really wanted this job, so I opened up to them. I said, "Look, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. I've been on the straight and narrow, and the things I've done, I am not perfect." The police realized this was not a small case. It was a properly organized pyramid scheme. Every girl got extra money for bringing a new girl. Because of this, one girl would bring another, and that girl would bring a third. In this way, a chain was formed, and most of these girls were under 18 years old. By May 2006, the Palm Beach police had built a complete case against Epstein. The case was so strong that in July 2006, the FBI also began an investigation, named Operation Leap Year. A 53-page report was prepared. Statements from victims were taken from Florida to New York, New Mexico. Epstein was charged with international sex trafficking. I am 16 years old. 16. 17 years old. This is me. This was me. This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein. This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein. 36 minor victims, dozens of witnesses, an FBI investigation, and such heavy charges. A man like Jeffrey Epstein should have rotted in jail for life. But the truth is, friends, something else was going on behind the scenes. Miami's federal attorney, Alexander Acosta, was making a secret deal with Epstein's lawyers. This deal seemed to be made to save Epstein. He just had to plead guilty to 2 minor charges of prostitution, and in return, he and his immunity was granted to the associates from all other criminal charges. This meant no case could be pursued against him on any other charge. The most shocking aspect of this deal was that it was sealed. That is, no one could even see this deal. The victims, even the poor girls, were not told about it. However, according to American law, it is mandatory to inform victims about any such deal. But no one could do anything. On June 30, 2008, Epstein appears in court and, as per the deal, pleads guilty to 2 charges. Following this, he is sentenced to only 18 months in prison. Only 18 months. During this sentence, Epstein was kept in the private wing of the Palm Beach County Jail. He was given permission to go to his luxury office for 12-13 hours a day, 6 days a week. This was such a first-class level of jail that Epstein would only go there to sleep at night. And even after all this, he is released from jail in July 2009, a full 5 months before his sentence was completed. All this was possible because of that secret deal, because of Alexander Acosta, who got Epstein this deal. Now, see the twist in the story, friends. This same Alexander Acosta later becomes the Secretary of Labor in the first administration of Donald Trump, Epstein's old friend. Secretary of the Department of Labor will be Mr. Alex Acosta. For many years after this, Epstein continues to live his life normally. Nothing happens to him. He travels in his private jet, throws lavish parties on his island, and meets powerful people. Our story ends here. The villain escapes. But in one corner of the world, there was a woman. There was a journalist who was determined not to let this Epstein get away. Julie K. Brown, an American investigative journalist working for the Miami Herald newspaper. After Epstein's release in 2009, she kept following the case closely. After studying the case for years, in November 2018, she publishes her report. Not 1, not 2, but a whole series of reports on Epstein's crimes and how the system saved Epstein. Julie named it Perversion of Justice. These reports bring a new explosion in the media. Public anger erupts. Demands for a fresh investigation against Epstein begin to rise, and due to all this pressure, a new investigation against Epstein starts in New York. In her investigation, Julie had identified over 80 potential victims. In her reports, she interviewed and documented 8 of them. The evidence was very clear. Therefore, in July 2019, Epstein is arrested once again. This time, he was charged directly with sex trafficking, which could carry a sentence of up to 45 years. But then comes the biggest twist in our story, friends. On August 10, 2019, Epstein is found dead in jail. Officially, the world is told that Epstein used a bedsheet to commit suicide inside his cell. But the circumstances here were such that many questions were raised. Actually, the matter is that Epstein was alone in his cell that night. There was no other inmate with him. And, coincidentally, the jail's cameras were not working that night. They had some technical problems. Therefore, there is no video footage available showing what actually happened, that Epstein did this himself. Because of this, conspiracy theories began to spread that Epstein did not commit suicide here, but was murdered. A video was released by the Department of Justice to prove that no one entered Epstein's cell before he was found, and that he really did take his own life. But it's only fueling more theories. The amazing thing was that among those spreading these theories, the most prominent were Donald Trump's supporters. Sometime later, Trump himself retweets a tweet which said that Epstein did not commit suicide, but he had secret information related to Bill Clinton. Therefore, Bill Clinton had him killed. Among Trump's supporters, "Epstein didn't kill himself" became a very popular slogan. In the 2024 American presidential elections, Donald Trump makes this a big issue. He promises that upon becoming president, he will make all of Epstein's files public. Repeatedly, whenever asked in interviews if he would declassify the Epstein files, Trump answers, "Absolutely, yes, I will." Would you declassify the Epstein files? Yes, yes. In January 2025, Trump wins the elections again and becomes the President of America. Now everyone was waiting for when these Epstein files would be released. Trump's supporters in particular were most excited about this. But in July 2025, the Justice Department of the Trump administration announced that no list of Epstein's clients exists, and no files will be released now. Then Trump himself took a U-turn. He started calling the Epstein files a boring issue, saying it is a Democratic hoax that will never end. It's pretty boring. Democratic hoax never ends. Trump said that the FBI should focus on important issues like voter fraud and not waste its energy and time on issues like Epstein. Come on, liar. Now, no one's supporters are so foolish as not to notice this, so Trump's own supporters began to question why Trump suddenly went quiet. Elon Musk even tweeted saying that Trump's name is in the Epstein files. That is why these files are not being released. Although Elon later deleted this tweet, the message was very clear. Even Trump's closest supporters became suspicious. And when people tried to investigate on their own, some very shocking facts came to light here. Trump and Epstein's old friendship, a very old connection. According to the New York Times, Trump and Epstein were best friends for almost 20 years. This friendship began in the 1980s, and by the 1990s it became so deep that both started spending time at each other's mansions, offices, at Trump's Plaza Hotel, and casinos. Epstein was seen with Trump at almost every party. According to one of Epstein's ex-employees, in the 1990s, Trump and Epstein would talk on the phone at least 3 times a week. Often, Epstein would talk to Trump on speakerphone in the office. In these conversations, Trump would boast in front of Epstein about what he had done with which woman. According to model Stacey Williams, women were like trophies for Trump and Epstein. Stacey alleged that in 1993, when she was dating Epstein, one day she went with him to Trump Tower. There, Trump pulled them towards him and inappropriately touched them. Epstein was watching all this happen, and according to Stacey, Epstein was enjoying that he had a model whom Trump was pursuing. Similarly, according to another victim, at the parties where Epstein would force them to have relations with other guests, Trump was also present. Trump would also travel on Epstein's private jets, where Epstein would often sexually abuse girls. In 2002, Trump himself said about Epstein, "He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." Meaning, Trump knew that Epstein liked younger women. Trump had also signed a note for Epstein in his book, Trump, The Art of the Comeback. To Jeff, you are the greatest. Because of this friendship, conspiracy theories began to emerge that maybe Trump is also among those people who have some damaging detail in the Epstein files, and that is why he does not want to make all the files public. Rumors began to spread among the public about all these things. Due to these conspiracy theories, public pressure increased so much that in November 2025, a bill was introduced in the U.S. Congress stating that the Justice Department must release all of Epstein's files within 30 days. When voting took place in Parliament on this matter, a very rare moment was witnessed where politicians from both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party came together to support this bill. Here, a big difference is seen compared to India. In the Indian Parliament, political parties can use the anti-defection law to force their members of Parliament to vote for or against a bill. But in the American Parliament, which is called the U.S. Congress, Its members can vote as they wish. No political party can force them. Therefore, despite Trump not wanting it, this bill gets passed, friends. And on November 19th, Trump is forced to sign this bill. Some Trump supporters were excited that finally the Clintons would be exposed and the proof for conspiracy theories circulating for years would be found. But when December 19th arrived, the Justice Department released only a few thousand files. Then, on December 23rd, 300 more documents were released. However, these documents were heavily redacted, meaning more than half of the content in them was hidden using a black marker. It was not easy to understand what was being said where in these files. But still, when people read them in detail, what emerged from these files was less about the Clintons and more about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's name repeatedly surfaced in the Epstein files. According to one email, Trump traveled 8 times on Epstein's private plane. The same Trump who always said he never sat on Epstein's plane. Similarly, in another email sent to a reporter, Epstein wrote that Trump knew about the girls because he had told Maxwell to stop all this. That is, according to Epstein, Trump knew what was happening, but still remained silent and did not tell the police. The new revelations are the most shocking. The FBI received a call. This call was made by a limousine driver on October 27, 2020, just before the U.S. presidential election. This driver told the FBI that in 1995, while driving Trump to the Teterboro airport, Trump was on the phone saying, "Jeffrey, Jeffrey," and talking about abusing a girl. According to the call record, 4 years later in 1999, when the driver told this to a woman, she went completely silent and then said that Trump and Epstein had raped her. This woman told the driver that a girl had taken her to a fancy hotel or building where she was raped. Apart from this, in these Epstein files, there was another document, a letter signed by Jeffrey Epstein. The letter was written to sex offender Larry Nassar. It said, "We have one thing in common, our love for young ladies. Our president also loves young girls like we do. But we have to eat jail food and he is the president. Life is very unfair." When this letter was written in 2019, Trump was the president of the United States. And the most interesting thing is that the Justice Department, which should remain neutral like a government body, started behaving like Trump's personal lawyer. These rape allegations were called untrue and sensational. Similarly, the letter was declared fake without showing any report. The same Trump, who before the election was turning the Epstein files into an electoral weapon, is now himself trapped in it. The list of clients that went to the island has not been made public. I have no problem with that. The conspiracy theories that his supporters were spreading are now backfiring on them. But there is another twist in this whole story, friends. All Epstein files have not been released yet. More than 1 million documents remain that have not been made public yet. The Justice Department says reductions are still being made in these documents, which could take a few weeks. Even in the documents that have been made public, many of these reductions have been made. A black marker has been used. Names have been blacked out. Dates have been removed. On many pages, half the lines are covered with a black marker. But the Justice Department has not even done these redactions properly in many places. There are many such files where these redacted words can be seen with a simple hack like Photoshop. In many documents, even that is not needed. By copying and pasting the redacted words into another document, they are becoming visible. The most important question here is what else is hidden in these files. It is claimed that Epstein had evidence against powerful people and a complete list of who came to his island. Over time, we will see how many more presidents, prime ministers, billionaires, millionaires, and princesses are implicated in this, and how many names will emerge in Epstein's black book.